Are we live? Yes, we're live. Well, I originally had plans on doing this particular little tape as a separate own video. I thought about just use my OBS, record it, and then do a lot of editing, make it look pretty and all that other nonsense. But you know what? I have decided that I'm going to go live and just talk. Because the thing is, folks, I think it's best that I talk about it, with you all face to face, give you all exactly my own perspective face to face, see all your reactions one on one, and from there, we'll just go ahead and talk about it and just really have ourselves a nice little time in terms of what it is that we are going to be discussing right now. So, folks, 2010s. Now, 2010s decade, there was a lot of movies that came out within that particular time frame. You had your good year and you had your bad years. In this instinct, for what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about something specifically that everybody loves. That is the world of animation. Everybody loves animation. Everybody grew up watching animation, whether it's if you grew up watching Pixar, Studio Ghibli, Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, whatever it's a movie, TV show, no matter the case is, everybody loves animation. Whether if you love hentai, I like watching hentai, especially that hardcore tentacle shit. I like watching hentai. Rule 34, that's animation. But as much as I would love to talk about Rule 34, Futanari, hentai, whatever the case may be, we're not talking about that. We're going to be talking about the animated films that came out within the 2010s decade. Folks, there has been numerous upon numerous movies that came out within this particular time frame that just became everybody's love, everybody's just thing. So many of our movies just became a whole part of our lives. A lot of these movies that just progressed. But if there's anything that I absolutely love in terms of animation that really set out and really just gave some of the best out there within the 2010s decade, that was Pixar. Pixar was able to really go out and set out some really, really divine, good-ass shit. And spoiler alert, you might hear some Pixar on my particular list, and rightfully so, because Pixar has set out and really delivered some amazing, impactful stuff that just really hit our hearts and into our soul. Absolute sensation Pixar is. But again, Studio Ghibli did some stuff. DreamWorks, Laika, whatever you want to call it. A lot of these animated companies had so much great stuff that happened. And I'm very impressed with a lot of stuff that transpired. So, in terms of my honorable mentions, I do have a bunch on here. But before we do that, my top 10, folks, I have a good selection of films. I literally worked on this list I've had this in my notes for quite a while. But here's the thing, though. I never really had the opportunity or chance to really just go out and make the tape and just come out and just talk about it until now. Because after seeing a particular new Pixar movie, it just really grew that inspiration of, you know what, why don't I just come out and just do this list that I had planned for a little while, but I never really came around to do it. So after seeing Soul, which was oh my God. Soul was just exactly what the title meant. It hits you in the soul, and it really hits out. God, that movie was just absolutely beautiful. It was funny. It was sad. It was touching. Pixar, dude, Pete fucking Doctor just knows how to deliver it. He comes around when we need him, and he sure as hell did it. Fucking love Soul, man. That movie is an absolute modern day modern day classic in the making, in not only in the world of cinema, but in the world of movies in general. That film was just absolutely magnificent to no end. So that's my little synopsis of how I feel about Soul. It was just a phenomenal movie. If you folks haven't seen Soul yet, please see it. You folks will have a really amazing time watching it, especially if you've been on a Debbie Downer and just not feeling yourself. This film will really pick you up because of its message and its characters and its story. This film will really, really please your mood because, again, that's what Pixar does. They know how to make you feel better. They have those moments, and just this movie was just able to do it. I still can't get over this movie at all. It was just absolutely just beautiful. I thought it was just great. Really, really great stuff. So with that being said, no more talking about Soul, since that was my biggest confident booster to come out and do this particular tape out of how many things I have written in my notes. Let's just go ahead and get right down to the nitty-gritty and go over my honorable mentions. Now, like I mentioned, I have a lot of things on here for my honorable mentions that I think you folks will be very, very surprised with of what's on here. But once I start revealing my top 10 list, you will understand exactly why I got these particular ones. So let's go ahead and get into the honorable mentions. And I'm ready to hear people yelling at me. I'm ready to hear people getting upset and not saying, how is this not on your list? Why is this not on your list? It should be on your list. Yeah, well, fuck you. This is my list. My list. This is my list. This is my list. So here are my honorable mentions that I have on here. I have Big Hero 6, Your Name, Weathering with You, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, it's not on your top 5, top 3. Sound the sirens. Fucking earthquake, tsunami. It's not on the top 5. It should be. Fuck you. Sausage Party, The Wind Rises, Wreck-It Ralph, Legends of the Guardian, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, which is one of my most underrated movies of the 2010s decade. And if I did a top 5, it would be on there for top 5 most underrated animated pictures. And no, I'm not going to calm down at all. Next up, Toy Story 4, The Book of Life, How to Train Your Dragon 3 and the first one, and Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3. So, for this particular instance, folks, that is my particular listing for honorable mentions. I hope you all are very surprised and like that. But anyways, folks, let's go ahead and get to the number 10 now. In terms of this particular case right here, this is for my number 10, folks. This particular pick, you're probably wondering, really, this particular film right here. But after watching it again just recently and just really reminiscing on the memories of growing up, watching these particular films, watching these particular characters, and just knowing exactly that these particular characters grew up with you. They grew up with you, and they just hit you with their personalities, the relation, and just knowing exactly who these particular characters are. It's just absolutely impactful, and how they were able to come up and make a reminder of a movie for these characters. It was just an absolute, it just blew my way that they were going to make a movie and give you all the reminder, the dedication, the love, and exactly who these characters are. So starting off, my number 10 is the Peanuts movie. You all know, if you don't know the story, Charlie Brown, just like Austin, he has a love for redheads. There's a little redheaded girl that he has a love for. He wants to get with her, and he needs the help of his friends. But here's the thing, though. This movie goes a lot more into that. It goes into the reminding. It goes into the detail. It goes into the love and heart and the warm cherish and that nice little spirit that you get from the Peanuts gang, and especially hearing a bunch of new actors and actresses playing as these roles and fitting into the original actors and actresses who voiced the original characters, and seeing these new ones portraying that. Just the reminder and seeing that animation alone was just absolutely beautiful. This film really puts you in a good mood. This movie really just knows how to hit your heart and put a really good smile on your face. The Peanuts movie is just a really good feel-good movie. It's fantastic. It knows how to put you in that proper mindset. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get to number 9. Now, number 9. Since everybody loves Toy Story, which is, we are going to have a Toy Story film on here. I practically just gave it away since I said number 4 is my honorable mentions. Might as well give it right there. Number 9 is Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3, we all thought as an equal unit that this movie was going to be the send-off. We all agreed that we thought that this was going to be the trilogy, that this was going to be the curtain call, that this movie was going to end the Toy Story trilogy at all, because Annie's growing up, He's going to college, and he has to learn how to move on from his childhood and move on and progress with his life right there. So with this particular instinct, folks, not only that, the toys were given away to a preschool, and from there they meet Mr. Bear, not Lucas's Mr. Bear. He can take that bear and shove it up his goddamn pee hole. Have you ever heard of a sounding? There you go. Mr. Bear, that pink motherfucker who runs the preschool, this Mr. Bear is evil. He's not cuddly. He's not friendly at all. Never got love in his life, which is okay. And from there, it's up to the gang to escape from this preschool and head back to Andy's. Folks, not only was this movie a lot... See, there's one thing about all 4 of the Toy Story movies. The first one was an introduction. The second one was an origins. The third one was about moving on and letting go into a new generation. The fourth one was about saying goodbye. But here's the thing about this one, why I choose this more over the fourth one. This particular one, this was a legacy. We all knew Andy. He was the main guy who grew up with all these toys. The Buzz Lightyear, the Woody, the Little Bo Peep, the fucking... what the fuck? Oh, Slinky. You had Rex. You had Ham, the Hog, and you had a bunch of other these characters that I can't necessarily remember off the top of my head. But at least a lot of the most well-known ones out there that everybody just loved. I was always a Slinky fan because that motherfucker, because he's such a little wise ass, and I like the wise ass characters. But this was about letting go and just moving on with your life and moving on from one past to another. Just that whole message alone, and especially the way that, unlike all the previous 2 movies, this one was a lot more action. This one was a lot more special. And this one just carried on a lot more heart that was just absolutely just mind-blowing. I couldn't even believe exactly how much action and suspense and how much more heart was put into this. And especially knowing the legacy, again, to reiterate myself, a big word, hope I pronounced that correctly, to reiterate with myself, this particular movie, Andy grew up with these toys, and for him to let go and pass on from one generation to another is just something else. Andy is that key figure in all of us that we have part of our childhood, and we just have to realize to come to terms that either we have to let go of something we possess and move on, or we just keep on to the things, because sometimes, folks, we just got to continue on with our lives and let things pass. That is that is the message of this movie that was just absolutely beautiful, was just letting go. God, this movie was just great. Really, really great stuff. All right, next up, folks, we're going to get to number 8. Now, we're going to get to some anime. As you all know, folks, in terms of anime, I'm actually a really big fan of the animated films. A lot of the stuff that comes from Japan is really intriguing stuff. I'm a huge Hayao Miyazaki fan. I absolutely adore Studio Ghibli. It is my favorite. Okay, other than... oh, I forgot what the fuck their name is. Oh, other than Aardman Productions, Studio Ghibli is up there as my top favorite film productions, other than Aardman. Aardman's going to always be number 1 in my heart, because that right there was my childhood. But Studio Ghibli is the second closest. Gotta have my friend Mr. Sprite with me, folks. Okay. So for this instinct, number 8, this is not a Studio Ghibli film. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to cue it up in the computer real quick to make sure that this is not a Studio Ghibli, because this particular movie felt like a Studio Ghibli film, but it's not. Okay, so it was on Netflix, I believe. I don't know. But this particular movie, when I saw this, I was just absolutely touched with the story and what it's like to realize, you know what? I was an asshole back then. I got to make up my terms and realize that this person didn't deserve this treatment. I got to grow friendship and really show this person the love and respect. My number 8 is a film called A Silent Voice. Silent Voice. The movie is about a girl who's deaf, she can't hear. And during her times in school, she was bullied pretty bad by one guy. And from there, as time progressed, after she got out of school, the one guy recognized her from her look, her appearance, and how she came off. And after all the guilt that this particular after the main protagonist felt with himself, he realized, you know what? I was a fucking asshole. I need to make up for myself. I need to show this chick exactly who I am as a person and give her the respect that she particular deserves and the love that should have been given to her, because I should have not been this disrespectful to her, especially with the disadvantages that she could not hold. Folks, this film was just a little by little progression in storytelling, giving you a character that you weren't a fan of at first, but as the film progresses, this is a whole developmental process. This film was a developmental process with its character studying and its story development. And how this whole film progressed, not just its beautiful cinematography that is given. It just absolutely fascinated me with the whole beautiful scenery, the love and caring that you give from these characters, and especially the main protagonist. I'm gonna have to look at Google for this one because I don't remember the name of the characters by heart since it is Japanese. Okay, so the girl, her name is Shoko. Okay, so the girl, the deaf girl, just reading her mannerisms of exactly. The main thing that really focused about in terms of looking at her as a symbolic figure was reading her eyes. Folks, here's one thing you need to learn when it comes to watching movies. When it comes to watching movies, folks, when you're looking at character development or when you're focusing on a character, the biggest thing that you should get when you're looking at a character and getting that proper development in terms of emotion is looking at their eyes. When you look at their eyes, that gives the emotion of what they're feeling, what it is that they're trying to give you as the viewer, and what they're trying to give you that symbolic notes of what it is that they are feeling, what it is that you need to feel to understand their perspective. Now, I'm going to break away from this for a little bit and give you all a perfect example. Look at Glory and look at Denzel Washington's character. That is a perfect example right there. So for this particular one, folks, A Silent Voice was just a really investing film. Sure, it was mean at first, but again, it was a developmental process. This film was something that became relating into the end and realized that you need to learn from your mistakes. So there you go. Number 8 is A Silent Voice. Okay, let me take a little swig of my Mr. Sprite real quick, and we shall get to number 7, folks. Okay, folks, number 7. Now, we're not going to talk about Pixar. We're not going to talk about Disney. We're not going to talk about any of the most beloved studio animations. We're going to talk about a particular animated film that was a first-time deal in terms of the world of films out there. I want to ask you folks one question. Have you ever seen an animated film that was based off of oil paintings? No? Yeah, I didn't think so either. But there is such thing as films that was based off of oil paintings. Are you folks familiar with Vincent van Gogh? No, I didn't think so either. So, after you watch this movie, you will know exactly who Vincent van Gogh is. This film was just basically a biographical novel based off of his paintings, based off of his life, and giving you a different perspective of one man who knew Vincent van Gogh, giving you that particular perspective and the way that these actors and actresses portrayed and turned into an oil painting type animation was just absolutely outstanding. And here's the thing though, folks, I believe this was an Oscar-worthy type award, and this is one of those rare occasions to where this is an Oscar-worthy movie is in my list and something that I love. My number 7 is Loving Vincent. Okay, Loving Vincent, this movie was just an amazing biographical story told from one person who was played, his name was Ardman Roland. He was played by Douglas Booth, who to me is a very bright actor in the movie world, very upcoming, and he has definitely a big, big future. I'm sure he's playing some other roles that I can't necessarily remember off the top of my head, but Saoirse Ronan, who I'm not really a fan as an actress at all, but Saoirse Ronan, she played in a couple played in about at least 2 movies that I'm a fan of. This one and The Lovely Bones. That's the only 2 movies I love Saoirse Ronan in. But this particular movie, though, Douglas Booth was the main star. The way that he goes around to different people around the town, meeting different folks who knew the story about Vincent Van Gogh, how exactly, what transpired in his personal life, what happened to him, how he grew up, how he got into paintings, how he met his love, how he found the depression leading up to his demise. Hearing all those different stories, while this movie itself, this movie was just literally a big Easter egg, because literally almost all of Vincent Van Gogh's paintings that is well known there, is well known to the human eye. Literally, almost a lot of his most notorious paintings were literally played in effect of this movie, and the symbolism that was provided, showing you all the art and dedication to Vincent Van Gogh, and especially that animated style, was just absolutely fascinating. Really phenomenal story, and this was probably one of the most creative ways to really go into detail of showcasing a biographical story, telling from another perspective while giving you such really amazing detail and such fluid performances. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get to number 6, shall we? Okay, I want to ask you all one simple question for number 6. Who likes dragons? Who likes Dragon Tales? I remember watching Dragon Tales when I was a kid. Those two little fuckers grabbing that little shell, and then all of a sudden they say, let's go to Dragon World. They grab the little shell, and then all of a sudden, here they are in Magic World, and they see all these dragons. One two-headed fucker, one fat fucker, one skinny fucker, one big booty fucker, one midget fucker. All these different dragons of different sizes of colors of the rainbow, and different. You want to know what they have respect by Dragon Tales? They don't discriminate fat people. So there you go. But let's just go ahead and talk about the dragon, shall we? Number 6, folks. The trilogy itself. This particular trilogy is what you can arguably say is or one of, but I can say that this is probably the best animated trilogy today, because each film is a note of its own. Each movie is something that is just absolutely intriguing. The best thing I love about this particular trilogy is that it is a build-up to a build-up to a build-up to a build-up. But here's the thing, though. It is a baby step at a time. It is a progression in a storytelling that does it right. From the introduction to the action and connecting, growing, to saying goodbye, falling true love. This particular movie right here, now, I would say the third, but the second one really just did so much that where it deserves to be on this list. So, folks, number 6 for me is How to Train Your Dragon 2. How to Train Your Dragon 2, folks. I don't even know if I should go into detail describing it, because this movie is so far literally needs no introduction for what it brings to you. So after Hiccup and Toothless met each other, became good buddies, patty cake, baker's man. Do you know the Muffin Man? These two are on a journey. These two go on a journey. They go on their way to fight against evil, find these secret caves, find dragons, and a bunch of other shit. This movie alone, just how much impactful and how much story they really put into this. Progressing the first one itself, thinking, okay, the first one was an introduction of its own. We're gonna give the folks a little bit of something, a little bit more that's a big higher up, something that's gonna really knock the socks off people, literally knock the socks off them right here. So for this particular instinct, folks, after seeing How to Train Your Dragon 2, once you go and see this movie blind, your mind's just like, you don't even know what to expect in this film, because you thought Hiccup and Toothless were just going to go and live happily ever after the end. No. This movie just goes a long way, just fighting crime, finding love, discovering themselves, who they are, their connection growing stronger, the love and dedication that they have for one another. Holy fuck, man. This movie was just absolutely phenomenal. By the way, I think Hiccup is Jake Gyllenhaal if he was animated. I don't know. Beats the hell out of me. But yes, folks, This movie was just absolutely amazing. A tour de force, and really deserves the love that it gets. All the praise in the world for How to Train Your Dragon 2. Okay, folks, coming in at number 5, shall we? Let's go and get to the top 5. Nitty gritty. Come play with my thingy. I don't even know what the fuck I just said. Number 5, folks, we're going to talk about some Pixar from up into this number, up into number 3. Number 5. Folks, when it comes to remembrance, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to progression in terms of twists and turns, people saying, oh, it's predictable. I already knew that was going to happen. I didn't know it was automated. Let me just tell you this, folks. Sure, you may say it's predictable as can be. Okay. But you got to look at it from you got to look at it from a subjective point of view, folks. Because if you're going to be objective and say, "Oh, it's predictable," then that is technically ruining your own purpose. You got to be from at least look at a subjective point of view, especially the predictability that was in this movie. It was the way that played off and the execution that was done. It was heartfelt. It really was heartfelt. Knowing how their particular what does it say? Well, I mean, because people are acting ridiculous. People are always acting so objective and not really, have that subjective feel and looking at it from the execution of what's being delivered. It's fucking common sense. But yes, folks, this particular movie itself, you may say, oh, it's predictable, but you got to look at it from the subjective standpoint and realize of the connection. If these two have not gotten together and the story was not really given the place, the true actual story of who the real talent is and who the fake is, then you wouldn't have gotten the story that you would have gotten. It really hits you in the heart afterwards. Who the real talent was, who the real voice is, and who really wrote the songs and who really the father was. Folks, my number 5 is Coco. This particular movie itself, the fact that this movie starts off as the fact that this movie, see, this is why I edit, folks, because every time I fuck up speaking, I have to cut it out and edit it. The fact that this movie started off giving you all a particular story of why music is banned, giving you all an in-depth introduction of exactly. This movie is a timeline of events. It gives you that introduction of exactly why music is banned, what the story is, what the background is. This movie literally starts off giving you details of what you need to expect and look forward to and understand reasons. The movie itself, in the intro credits, literally gives you the details. And from there, as the film progresses, you learn about little Pablo. I believe that's the little boy's name, Pablo. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, if that's what the little boy's name was. I think it was Pablo. Folks, please correct me who the little boy's name was. I keep thinking it's Pablo. So the little boy, he has a talent for music. He absolutely loves music. He worships his idol, who he believes is his great-great-grandfather, who's got the musical talent. Okay, it's Miguel. All right, thank you very much. It's Miguel. So Miguel has a love for music. He worships his great-great-grandfather. But here's the thing, though. Family forbids it because of the past that transpired. So what happens is on the day of the dead, once that is forgiven, Miguel goes into the afterlife to meet his family members, and because he wants to learn exactly, he wants to meet his great-great-grandfather and worship exactly who his great-great-grandfather is, and give him the love and recognition for the music that he is able to bring for it. Now, along the way, he ends up meeting a guy named Hector. Let's just say Hector is just a friend that he meets. So Hector, along the way, they become good buddies and they look out for each other. And from there, folks, as your story progresses and you realize the truth. See, folks, here's the thing though in the movie. Truth truth is a big thing in terms of films. Once that twist happens and gives you that actual reason itself of what the film is trying to do and how it's supposed to hit you and the way that it twists in the end, you're supposed to get that big connection, the execution alone of how it's supposed to hit you. You got to look at it from the story developing of what it is giving you and what the message is and what the mood is. That's exactly what I love about Coco, was the whole entire mood, what the story is, and once you learn exactly what the truth is and you realize as a viewer of what happened, it is just absolutely mind-blowing. It really is. And the fact that, my God, and the songs that were written for this movie, the whole entire the music itself, the direction, god damn, dude, it's just right here in the chest, man. It just hits you so hard. Coco is an absolute fun movie. It is a beautiful story, so much detail, a really investing twist that just really hits you in the heart, staying true to itself, giving you all truth of what's fact and what's fiction, and giving you all what it's like to all your family members that you love so dearly. Never forget them, especially entering the afterlife, because once you forgot them, that's it. You don't ever forget the loved ones that you have in your life. That's the best way. The message you get is that remember the loved ones that you were once close with. So there you go. Oh, but it's predictable! Fucking hell. Yeah, I'm just going to say this right now. If you say it's predictable, really watch this movie and understand the message of what's giving you, to really understand what it's like to remember the loved ones that have fallen. I rest my case. Let's go ahead and get to number 4, shall we? Okay, folks. Number 4, I'm kind of guilty. Number 4, I look up Rule 34 for this particular film a lot. Because, you know, I'm just going to leave it right there. I do look at Rule 34 for this one a lot. I'm not going to lie at all. So, if you don't know what Rule 34 is, I'm going to let you folks look that up. So, there you go. Number 4, we all know about differences, racial differences. We're all the same color on the inside. It doesn't matter exactly where you're from. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter exactly what it is or where you're from, who your background is, what religion you believe in. It doesn't matter exactly. For me, when it comes to people in general, I don't mind. I love meeting people from all over the world. I love meeting folks from different countries, whether they're from Russia, China, Japan, Korea, Australia, Italy, Ukraine, South America, Africa, Mexico. What other countries? Did I say Russia? Germany. You name it. Whatever country I'm out of the world, I'm always open-minded, and I love meeting folks from different parts of the world. I love learning about the history. I absolutely admire learning about the cultures, the food, their backgrounds, what makes them unique, hearing the languages. I love meeting folks internationally. I have a big thing for that. I used to work with folks internationally. I don't know. When it comes to meeting folks internationally, they just become so dear to my heart. Just meeting their backgrounds and just learning who they are. I admire that about folks a lot. Britain, I love meeting folks internationally. It means a lot. And this movie, folks, really focuses on that subject between predators and prey, giving you all exactly of what the turn of events are. As one little bunny wants to fit in and become a cop, she meets a predator named Nick Wildy. Then you got little Judy Hopps. They become friends. I mean, they've had their differences, but they become friends, and they have to team up together to showcase exactly that everybody is the same, and it doesn't matter exactly what their backgrounds are and who they are. Folks, my number 4 is an action-packed, fun movie that gives some of the best Easter eggs I can to adult humor. That is Zootopia. Zootopia is just absolutely fucking great. Speaking of Zootopia, ironically enough, I just I got the little videotape right here. So what do you know? It was just popping. It was just pop. What's this? Okay, for some reason, why do Blu-rays have to have this little thing here, this little clip? Like the fucking movie's gonna fall out. I always thought, let's take Wolf of Wall Street, for example. I always thought, oh wait, that's not open. Okay, Willy Wonka. I always thought, okay, doing this is okay. Doesn't matter opening that. But why do Blu-rays or 4Ks need to have this little clip here? Don't need that. So with that instinct, folks, with Zootopia, about this particular movie, this film alone, it's so much fun. It is action packed. It gives you all exactly what it's like. It doesn't matter where you're from, what the difference is. You are who you are, and you got to grow a connection with one another. The fact that Judy Hopps is a relating character, that she just wants to fit in and showcase her talents, her recognition of her wanting to be a police enforcer. It just showcases exactly what it's like to fulfill your dreams and grow that recognition. Also, sloths. There you go. Take fucking 965 pictures of that, you motherfuckers. But Zootopia itself, the film is just absolutely fun. The characters they meet along the way is just great. The fucking humor that they have, even though it is, you can say, a kid-friendly manner movie, there's a lot of adult humor in this film that is just absolutely moving. And plus, here's the thing, though. This film itself really does focus around adult-themed subject. It really does, but it showcases in that manner to teach, the younger viewer exactly of, well, what the subject is. But yeah, Zootopia is a fucking modern-day piece. It is just great. It is fun. It is exciting. It is funny. It is heartwarming. This film is just absolutely great. Love Zootopia so much. Great stuff. Check out the Rule 34 for this. You might like that. Okay, next up, folks, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty, the top three, shall we? Let's go ahead and get to the top three. All right, I'm already hearing folks right now saying, but this movie is also overrated. Disney shouldn't have made this movie. I don't like it because of the marketing. He yelled at me because Shut the fuck up. Just be quiet. Sure, did the movie make a lot of money? Yeah, it did. It made money. It made merchandise. It made fucking fans. It made all that nice stuff. It made Futanari. It made all that other shit. Because this movie's popular, because it's good. I think it's good. If the people don't like this one, tough cookies. That's okay. You don't like it, go. I'm not gonna give you harsh punishment for it. I just don't want to hear people being dickheads. Okay, that little voice I did when I make fun of people, I'm just making fun of those types of people who are being dickheads. The ones who are saying, "Oh, it's overrated. I don't like it because you make money. I don't like it because you hate me." I'm talking about those types of people who are dickheads. The dickhead types who just make fun of the folks, who just make fun of the movie without really going into details. See, the thing is, you can go into not liking a movie as long as you explain yourself, as long as you go in and explain yourself, a fucking logical factor, okay, as long as you're not being a dickhead. I was just making fun of the people who are dickheads about shit. That's all. But here's the thing about this particular movie, of why I love this one. This movie was the breath of fresh air Disney needed. This movie was the reminder. This was an old school Disney film at its finest. Because we all remember we all know the story of princesses, princes, musical numbers that just hits the heart, along with supporting characters that you grow to love and get an attraction for, along with a particular princess that you just grow to love and appreciate so much, along with having that nice little suspenseful story. You know how these princess movies work. A princess movie, you get an introduction who they are, who their background is. Then from there, you meet the prince. Same exact concept. You meet the princess's little critter friends. You get the fucking squirrels, the chipmunks, the goddamn little carrots that are hopping around, jumping and shit, and along with the little celery, the sunflower, the goddamn onion that's crying, that little blue ball. You got that little dice with the evil face. Why am I thinking of Cuphead characters all of a sudden? That has nothing to do with this movie. I'm fucking bringing up Cuphead for this. Oh, for God's sakes, Gare, you are a fucking goof. You're silly and you're ignorant, Gare. But folks, this movie, on a serious note, this movie brought back and reminds you exactly what the original legacy was from Disney Productions. This movie brought back the reminder. It brought back that storytelling. It brought back those sing-alongs. It brought back those particular characters that you just want to grow, whether it's the main ones or the supporting ones. You grow a connection with the character that you just end up loving as time progresses because of their background and understanding their perspective of who they are as an individual. My number 3, folks, is Frozen. This movie itself was old school Disney at its finest. The reason why a lot of folks, okay, I'm not going to give no hate, but here's the thing though, folks. You got to look at the movie like this. This movie was a tribute. This movie was not only a tribute, this movie was also a dedication as well. This movie was giving you that reminder. This movie was giving you that dedication, that once love of those old school princess films that you absolutely love. From Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Sleeping Beauty to now. This ain't my type of movie, but I'm going to say for you folks out there, because you folks love this movie, The Little Mermaid, I will give it that. Despite how I feel about Little Mermaid, I will give credit where credit is due and say exactly that, yes, The Little Mermaid deserves the praise all it gets. I give credit where credit is due despite my own feelings. See, folks, that's being fucking honest. Beauty and the Beast, Beauty and the Beast, arguably you can say is the greatest Disney princess film of all time. You got Pocahontas, and you got, my personal favorite. You got Mulan. I love Mulan. Harry likes Mulan. I mean, I really love Mulan. Then you get to some modern ones, like Moana. But here's the thing, though, folks. Here's what I can say about Frozen. After a long time without seeing hardly any of those princess movies that you folks love and enjoy, Frozen was able to really connect and really signify and bring back that reminder, while having its own fresh, original story, original score, original everything. This film was as fresh can be. It's like going to an ice cream parlor. It's on a hot summer's day. You want to feel relaxed. You want to feel good about yourself. So you go into the ice cream parlor. You say, okay, excuse me, Mr. Ice Cream Gentleman. I want to order myself a nice big banana split sundae. I want my 3 ice cream flavors of my choosing, the vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, my 2 bananas. You got to have your little hazel candy nuts. You got to have your whipped cream on each scoop of the ice cream. Got to have your Oreo cookie topping, your gummy bears, whatever the case may be. And you got to have that little cherry on top. And once you get that ice cream, folks, you just take that big scoop of that chocolate, that strawberry, and that vanilla. You take that first bite, and it is absolutely refreshing. That's exactly what Frozen is. It is all the ingredients of what accumulates. That's a big word right there. Accumulates a nice banana split sundae. All those fresh ingredients that you love are put into one. So something that is an absolute classic, along with some new things added on, something original that was classic, was a classic format brought into a new generation from there, it is just absolutely revolutionary. I think Frozen is one of those modern day revolutionary, modern day classics, and definitely you can say right now, a modern day classic right now. If people don't like it, on a truthful note, they don't like it. I don't care. It don't bother me whatsoever. I can't change what people don't like or dislike. It's nothing I can do about it. But hey, I respect you regardless if you don't like it. I'm just giving my own thoughts. All right, folks, time for number 2. Next 2 are masterpieces. These 2 particular movies are absolute masterpieces. Number 2 and number 1. But in terms of the order itself, it wasn't really hard for me to say which one will be number 1 and number 2, because number 1 is a much more personal connection, but this one as well. These both are on a personal note, but I had to give my number 1, though, I had to put that up for a little high, which we will get to. But number 2, though, folks, again, when it comes to coming of age stories, you don't get the old school coming of age format of what you usually get. The coming of age, okay, when it comes to coming of ages now, sure, you can take life, you can literally take life and turn it into a movie as long as you got a driving plot and a story and characters that you can legitimately get behind. If you're just watching a movie about somebody just growing up without giving you characters to get behind and really seeing exactly what the driving force is, then why should I care about this movie if you're not giving me a plot mixture within that coming of age format? I'm going to go back to the 1980s, folks, and give you some coming-of-age movies that were just absolutely fantastic and gives you that particular element of what you should look for within coming-of-age stories. Look at Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Look at The Outsiders. Look at Pretty in Pink. Look at Stand By Me. Look at those movies like that, for example. Stuff like that. Look at, to me, what I consider really to be the greatest coming-of-age movie of all time. American Graffiti. Look at that one. That movie itself. That one's like the accumulation, the start of exactly what coming of age movies should be like. American Graffiti. Fucking outstanding movie. But folks, coming of age film, I used to love the coming of age. Just watching those coming of age movies is something. 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, shit like that. But here's the thing though. In this particular setting now, there's not that many. Okay, Dead Poet Society too. Thing is, folks, just looking at how time is right now, I'm looking at these coming of age movies, and I'm just thinking, okay, you go from having a particular story to just hearing about, okay, I'm growing up in life, I'm bitching, I'm yelling, I'm complaining, and I'm fucking acting like a dancing bear, prancing around, jumping out of my car, because why the fuck not? I don't get these coming of age movies today. It's just that when it comes to these formats now, I just don't understand exactly where did you go from having a story where you have cast of characters you can love and get behind. Well, if you're focusing on life, you can have it, but also have that driving plot. Instead of just saying, oh, we're going to watch somebody grow up and just say, oh, here we go. They're going to grow up. Years later, they're a big boy. I don't understand exactly what it is, but hey, if that's people's cup of tea, more for it. I'm just expressing my own feelings of exactly why I don't think coming of age films are. But in this generation, at least now from what I see, you will get a special novelty film that really does the coming of age of what the format is done right. This movie does exactly what the coming of age film do. Now, in terms of, okay, before I talk about it, there are some modern day films that are coming of age that are particularly good. There's The Spectacular Now. That one was great. There's Love, Simon. That one was really good. I like Love, Simon. I forgot to mention Say Anything. God damn it. Gare, you fucked up again. You forgot to mention Love, Simon. Gare, Love, Simon. Say Anything! I'm all over the place now. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anyways, but again, to name two, you got the Spectacular now. You get, I think Little Miss Sunshine a coming of age film? I don't know. I don't know if Little Miss Sunshine is a coming of age film. Yeah, I'll take Shazam, that one as well. See, there are coming of age movies that are good because they follow the format. But in terms of this, though, I think this is the best modern day coming of age movie that really does it justice. It speaks for itself, folks. Number two is Inside Out. Folks, you're watching a little girl grow up, but at the same time, she's shutting down. You get all these emotions. You got joy, you got disgust, you got anger, you got sorrow, and there was one more too. You got disgust, joy, anger, sorrow. I think there was a fifth one. I think there was a fifth. Was there a fifth one? Anger, disgust, sorrow, joy. I can't remember if there was a last one or not. I haven't watched the movie in a little. I was just watching this recently too. God damn it, Garrett. All right, well, back to what I was saying. You got all your emotions there, and here's the thing, though, folks. There is a driving plot when it comes to the coming of it. There is a driving plot. You got your story. They're on their way to fix They're on their way to fix her emotions. They are trying to fix her up and make her feel whole again. They're trying to make her feel herself again. But at the same time, you get all your emotions, and they affect this movie in such different ways that are just absolutely amazing. All these emotions fit this movie to perfection. The timing, the story itself, the memories of what it's given, the depression a person feels, the relation that you grow watching this movie. It just hits you on so many personal notes if you are dealing with a lot of shit. Inside Out is just a masterpiece of a movie. This was a breath of fresh air, like that spearmint, like the fucking spearmint gum. You know, the spearmint gum, you know, the running gag and such. No? Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But yes, folks, this movie itself, the story, everything that happens in this movie, the cast of characters, seeing about the interior factor, the outer interior, learning exactly of how emotions really affect a person, no matter what it is you are feeling. It's just truly remarkable, giving you that inside look. This movie's it is a tearjerker. It's just beautiful. The sacrifices given, the memories that you will soon forget from childhood and moving on from forward there. You can't forget exactly. The flashbacks, goddamn, folks. Inside Out is just truly remarkable of a movie. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get to number one. I better hurry this up. I've just been going on and on and on. But, hey, I like talking, and I like giving you all good reasons. This is probably one of my best explanations I've done in quite a while, especially the fact that I haven't covered movies in a bit of a predicament. So it's very nice to really find that inner mentality of talking about movies again after so long. So there you go. It feels really good to do this again. Now, before we get to number one, I hope you folks have really enjoyed this little list. I hope you folks are satisfied with the selections of the order placement, what's on this list, and I hope you folks are really, really satisfied, because this was a good handful pick of movies that I had to personally feel of what are my personal best ones for the 2010s decade. So I think this list, I'm really satisfied with this list and how it turned out. I hope you folks really enjoyed this so far. So let's go ahead and get to number one. Number one, if there's any animation that I love more than anything, I absolutely love the style of claymation. Claymation is my favorite. I love the hard work. I love the dedication. I love the effort. I love the little figures. I love claymation so much. But when it comes to claymation, I love stop motion as well. Stop motion is just something that is just really phenomenal. It's so much work, so much practical effects, and so many great things put into the whole stop motion realm is just absolutely phenomenal. But when it comes to stop motion, You got to get that story. You just got to find that particular story that you will really grow. Folks, my number one, this movie is just magic. Literally magic. After a young boy, which we'll get to his name momentarily, who lives in peaceful harmony, his mother's depressed and such. But here's the thing, though. Our young hero, he does have a magical guitar. He does tell stories with it. And from there, he's on a journey. He's on a journey to understand the fallen mystery of his father, what happened to him. And he has to understand exactly where his father came from, who he is, and really get that perfection. While along the way, there is the evil sisters. His aunts are trying to stop him from getting the pieces of armor. So he's on his journey with his two friends, Beetle and Monkey. And the way that this twist turns out for this particular movie of who these two characters are and why they mean so much to him is just absolutely astonishing. Folks, my number one best animated film of the 2010s decade, and it's became a personal favorite film of mine. That is Kubo and the Two Strings. When I first saw this movie, I was just blown away. The whole cinematic appeal, the look, the outer atmosphere, the calming, blowing natures of the wind, the storytelling of what Kubo is able to do on his magical instrument, the story itself, the cast of characters he meets with, Monkey, Beetle himself, how these two particular characters become so special and so personal to him. Again, watch the movie and you'll understand why. And the twists and turns that transpire and exactly dealing with your own inner demons and becoming to accepting it and letting it go is just absolutely astonishing. Laika Productions was able to deliver a film that was just absolutely masterful. Travis Knight did this movie too, by the way. So there you go. This movie did so much. The biggest thing about this movie that really did it was the originality in storytelling. Because again, folks, other than development with characters, what is the number one thing you want in a movie? You want storytelling. You want progression and storytelling. What's going on? What's given? What the execution is going to lead to? What's the logical stuff? Everything leading up into what makes a story successful. This is a movie that just does it to perfection in every way that I absolutely love. Now, here's on another personal note of why. I love watching Asian movies. I love watching those Asian themed stories, whether it's animation, whether it's real life. I'm a big fan studying Asian culture. And the fact that if it's going to have the Asian culture, now here's the thing though, folks. When I say I'm interested in the Asian type films, I'm not saying because, there's going to be Asian babes. No, it's not the biasness. It's because I have a legit actual interest learning about Asian history and culture. And if there's going to be a movie surrounding that type of element that I'm interested in learning, I'm going to be interested because it's something that I love learning about. And if there's going to be a movie, I'm going to be invested, especially what the material is going to be given, who's going to make it, what the story is. This movie just falls into one of those cases when it first came out. And after seeing it, the whole original story itself, the characters, the development, the twists and turns, and everything that was just done, this film really just signifies everything that I love watching in a stop motion picture and an animation in general. The storytelling at its finest. I fucking love Kubo and the Two Strings. I love this movie to the bitter end. I want to get a poster of this movie, hang it up somewhere. I want to hang it up on the refrigerator, wherever the case may be. I absolutely adore this movie so much. So there you go, folks. That is my top 10 best movies of the 2010s decade. I hope you all enjoyed this list. I hope you all had yourselves a good time. I hope you all enjoyed hearing my explanations. I hope you had yourselves some good little shits and giggles. Now, since this was many one of projects that I got done, I will have more down the road for you folks to enjoy, whether it's listing, reviews, video game, movies, whatever. I want you folks to have yourselves a good. I want you folks to take care of yourselves. Ciao for now. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.